Welcome to Awakened with Victoria Bond. I'm your host, Victoria, and I am absolutely honored to bring you this podcast where we will be getting raw, real, turning up consciousness, removing the old energies that do not align, and turning up our capacities as human beings and spiritual beings. I will be bringing you mediumship. I will be bringing you channels. I will be bringing you points of view that will shift your perspective and realign your body, your mind, and your soul. Enjoy this ride. This comes from my heart to yours, and know that while you're listening to this, indeed, you are helping to create this. Enjoy the ride, and I'll see you inside. Welcome to today's episode. We are currently in a transit, the biggest transit in 2022, and boy, oh boy, is my audience, my friends, my family, myself feeling this. I have had a lot of SOSs this last 24 hours. I have had people having incredible breakthroughs. There has been many tears. There has been anger. There has been absolute up levels. And what this has brought me to want to share with you is about the up levels. It is about the breakthroughs. It is about the resistance. It is about the chaos within the change when we are choosing the change. And the interesting thing is, as we move towards 2027 and we're having all these planetary shifts, and I want to say awarenesses to the planetary shifts, because I've never known since I've been alive anyway, I've never known people to acknowledge the moon and the planets as they are so much. Now, of course, back in the olden days, we had people like the three wise men. They talk about that in the Bible. It was a thing. People in the tribes, it was always about the moon. It was always about the stars. But then society kind of got taken over with control systems, generally created by churches, and also hierarchy systems and structures, which took that away. So we energetically disconnected from our individual selves and also the unity consciousness. And now we're coming back to that. So this is very much the energy that I've been sitting in and observing with my clients and my friends and my families, of the behaviors that are associated with the shadows that are coming up, to release that old paradigm which we have collectively created together, which was based on a kind of more of a mental level, which is based on a hierarchy system and control systems. Now we're coming back home to our roots. We're coming back home to our individuality as well as the unity consciousness. So it kind of sounds like I'm talking about two different things. I am, but one goes with the other. And I've actually been creating trainings around this as well. So I'm just kind of giving you a sneak peek about what one of the trainings is in one of my high-level masterminds. So pretty much we are, especially in this transit now, we're in the Lion's Gate. We're in Leo, so we're on the 2nd of August as this is being recorded. Or 1st of August if you are in America, okay? So we're actually in the energy of this transit. So before the transit, after the transit, kind of, we still feel the feel. So it doesn't just go, oh, boom, like, for instance, with a full moon. It's a full moon, you have to do it right now. It's kind of full before and full after. It's just fully illuminated in, when it's illuminated, but it doesn't mean that you can't receive from it on either side, right? Anyway, that's a side note. So the individuality is coming home to yourself as a soul, acknowledging yourself as a spirit, and also embodying what you know into your human. And what we have had access to more so now, because this unity consciousness is shifting, the awareness is heightening and expanding, rather than just coming from mind, we're coming from energy, which is going to become more so in 2027, like up until then type of thing. what we're actually realizing is that we have to claim and embody these parts of ourselves into our human, and therefore we come together as unity consciousness. We come together like pieces of a puzzle fitting in. So the human design, that's the more access that we have now. Of course, people say it's only been around for the last 30 years. Well, it hasn't actually. It's very, 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 very ancient. It was just reminded to a person, to Ra, which was his chosen name. It was really channeled down to him for us to remind ourselves of the I Ching, the Kabbalah, the astrology, and it's mixed in kind of together, and it created the system human design, which of course is a guide to acknowledging the different blueprints that we all have. And we have these 5 different energy types, and with these energy types, we work differently. Okay, we all work differently. And also within those energy types, we have got what we call the authority, which is how we use our intuition. We also have different auras in those energy types. Okay, so we also have different centers, which is the chakra system. And whether that is defined or not, depends whether you're kind of more open or more kind of closed and kind of more defined in your thought processes and defined in your own wisdom rather than receiving it externally. So with this knowledge that so many of us, we all have access to, but many of us are having this ping, like our ears are like popping and going, what is human design? Like, we are curious because our soul and our spirit and our human are requiring to smash out this old system and really kind of embody a new concept of individuality, which is creating more unity consciousness. Now, I know this sounds kind of crazy, but the way that they go on together and the way that my guides have been showing me and my intuition has been showing me is we can't just be all, oh yeah, oneness, 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 love and light all over the show. Just keep your vibes high, people. Keep their frequency high. You know, push down anything or throw it away if it's negative. No, it's actually more about, okay, how am I feeling truly? It's actually about being with yourself and being truly honest with your body. We've got different modalities. We've got Reiki, there's body code, there's cranio, there's Bowen therapy, there's theta, there's endless amounts, and they are all beneficial. Okay, there's a lot of people buying Heelys these days. And of course, the Heely is a frequency device, which, I don't know, someone who is a Heely will tell you all about that, right? And there's astrology, which has been around forever. Everyone knows what astrology is. But we're starting to notice that there is a lot of truth within these tools, these processes, these access consciousness. They say we're not a modality, we're tools and processes to turn up consciousness, okay? Again, it's another kind of channeled modality where somebody has created it and they've, really made it into a facilitation and put a little bit of a, not an MLM or a pyramid, but kind of like that, right? You can't just do it once and then you've got to keep signing up and paying the money and all that type of stuff. So someone's made it into a business, which is a beautiful thing because we all can have access to more money. My point being is this is so available to us now, and even Access Consciousness, when Gary Douglas downloaded that, right, and he's still alive, he's still with us, that was only, 30 years ago or something. So it's all happening and we're all becoming more aware of it. This is a time now for embodiment. The embodiment is the individuality that I'm speaking of. The embodiment is the being with the self. We have had the decades of yoga, the decades of meditation, and although they are still perfectly relevant, we are now kind of in this decade of deep embodiment and somatic practices. And I know I've just been doing an incredible program for my own personal energy type as a projector. And we've been doing somatic exercises every time. And I'm like, this is so ridiculously easy. It's like, stop, or breathe, or put your hands over your face and take a nice deep breath, or shake your arms above your head for 30 seconds. These simple somatic exercises, and even breath work is one as well, right? They are so, so profound, yet so simple. So gone are the days where you had to be the smartest intellectual human in the room to be successful. That's not even a thing anymore. That's the old system. Gone are the days where you had to go to university. You had to come from a family with money. You had to be able, to keep up with society. You wanted to be middle class or, above middle class or whatever. That system's smashing down. The wheel is smashing down. It's all completely breaking. Can you see that? My message is to you today is a very simple message. And that message is, as you are here in this time, you are a profound game changer. You're the game changer. You're here to be that. And many people don't even think that they are anything. And, we even hear this in religion. If you knew how much the angels and God and the Virgin Mary, how much they loved you, you would never doubt yourself again. And this comes through in my mediumship as well. I'm like, if you knew how much you were loved, if you knew how much you were really gifting to the world, the universe, even though we're a tiny, tiny, tiny speck in the scheme of things, we are so divine. We are so beautiful. And I can feel people right now cringing like, oh, fuck, when will I ever believe that, right? And this, of course, is a part of the self-recognition and coming into ourselves. So to heal our ancestral lines, to smash out those old patterns, we have all got patterns that came from our parents or our caregivers because no matter how hard they tried, they were in a different level of consciousness with what was happening collectively and individually for their soul. So there's only so much they could do, right? So we are shifting so fast, like I spoke about in the last podcast. Now we have come to a point where we have more access. We have more awareness. We have more capacity to hold. We all have an ability and a capacity to hold bucket loads of wealth and joy, happiness, and of course, deep alignment and health within the body. We're here to be healthy and wealthy and spiritually aligned. And you just have to go onto Instagram or any social media resource that we have. I like to call them resources because I believe it's free advertising if you use a resource and you don't let the resource use you. You'd be clever about these things. We're still in systems, right? So we can now find anything and have access to anything, anywhere, anytime. I've always called it this McDonald's world, right? People want the results now. It's fast food. But the truth is, we have to slow the fuck down when it comes to the integration process. An example of this is a beautiful client of mine came to me a year ago and she said, oh my God, I just need to know everything there is to know because I've got a big purpose. I don't know what it is and I don't know anything. She was a 1-3 generator. The first thing I said to her is please drop all expectations of me because I knew she had huge expectations of me to answer all of her questions and I felt that. And I knew that the expectations of her, that was a mirror, right? She had them of herself and I could feel it. And I said to her, you already know everything. It's within your DNA, within your cells, and you have to slow down because consciousness does not happen in the speed, in the mentality of the hustle. It happens in those moments of quietness. It happens in those present moments, right? this is what happens with our senses. We sense things and we receive when we're not in fight or flight or give it to me, give it to me, give it to me, or like, ego. The most incredible thing happened with this client. So she's a generator. She's got a lot of energy. She's incredible. She's already successful in business. She's got like 3 children. She's incredible. Very, very powerful lady. But it wasn't until she stopped like 8 months later. So she learned and learned and learned and learned and learned. I wasn't her only coach. Like, she did many programs, many people, many holistic kind of, weekend experiences and modalities and retreats. She did everything. She really, I don't even know how she did it, but boy, oh boy, did she put that motor to use. She has slowed down. And she said to me, Victoria, I don't even want to talk. And she loves to talk. She's really great. She's got a defined throat, so she's great at speaking. And she's like, I don't even want to talk. I'm just being. I'm feeling. I'm hearing it. I know what I have to do, and I'm going to create this Facebook group for the world so we can all come together and activate together. So she's shifted from a more smaller mindset of how, and why, and what. And she'd always say to me, but why? And I said, there doesn't need to be a why. The more you ask with your brain, the more you are actually putting a full stop and creating something dense and solid, and you're limiting the growth of the truth. And the truth is always much more expansive, large, and very, we have to be open to perspectives. So there's so many possibilities, limitless possibilities. So when we are putting a full stop and we're trying to find the why and the how and the now and the when, we are simply limiting what we can receive. So anyway, my example with my client is, we've been working together for about a year now, or over a year, I believe. And she's had a couple of stints of deep rest and integration. And every single time, that is when I saw the huge growth. And I don't measure it from her words, and I don't measure it from what she's creating online or how much money is coming in. I mean, she's already successful in another business, but it was measured by the deep energetic feeling and connection that is created when she was speaking to me. So it wasn't I'm out of my body trying to find the why, trying to find the how, trying to find the when, trying to find the what. It was, hey Vic, how's it going? I've just been really slow and my head is telling me I need to get online and I need to catch up and I need to do this. And I'm like, stop. And I've done that for a whole year. I've gone, stop. You've just gone to your head. You have just deflected what you knew, therefore nearly eliminated your deep innate knowing. And I'm noticing this a lot with clients, right? Like, so one session is a beautiful thing, but when you've had somebody like this client who went one-to-one with me and then she's done numerous programs of mine, I've seen her unlayer, and she's done that all within a year. She's been on a journey before she met me, of course, but what I have seen within the soul, within the spirit, and she's been fantastic at embodying it, what I've noticed is the profound shift and the up level, the upgrade, the ascension that comes with this kind of growing into yourself energy, where we used to have to wait until we died to receive that. When I die, I get to ascend. I get to be with God. I get to look at my shadows. Wow, people, times have changed, and now you get to ascend, be with God, and look at your shadows now. This portal of receiving and activating is open now. And I've given everybody a glimpse of that a couple of podcasts ago. I actually had been a guest speaker for for a friend of mine, right? And it was talking all about light language. And in that episode, which is a couple of episodes back, I believe, is about light language. I explain light language. I explain mediumship. I'm very real and raw. I don't hold back. I like to talk to the magnificence of people. And yeah, I do an activation in there. Okay. This was not so available for everybody even a few years ago. And a couple of years ago when I first started, or a few years ago, first started channeling light language, and it just wasn't available for everybody. I would do it in my groups, and some people would receive it, some people wouldn't. Like, it was like a 50-50. I was like, this is really interesting. And then I started noticing the shifts. The more people were doing it, the more we were opening up, the more times we came together and we were doing meditation and dropping our barriers and expanding, the more shifts were occurring. This was happening on an individual basis inside the body, the meridian system, and also in the aura as we're cleaning and clearing, activating, doing entity clearings, tapping into the mediumship abilities and codes. And then because we were together in this beautiful collective consciousness, we were having massive light bombs in the best way possible through the earth, activating other people through the earth. Now, we're just a group of people, just a group of people with somebody leading a meditation and light language. And, I'm merely just a coach helping people to see their truth and share their truth and all the things. But what I started noticing was, by coming into themselves as individuals, just like my client who was coming into herself in those moments of rest to integrate what she had learned and remember who she was, because she had to put that part in rather than chasing, because she's a generator. She was like, actually, what if I responded to what I needed rather than responding to the world? And therefore, in that quietness, nearly in that surrender, having faith and trust, all of a sudden it channels through. I have to start this group. I have to bring these people together throughout all of the world, and we all activate, yada, 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 all these different things, right? She's just begun it. And she's got so much to say. And this is just an example of all of my clients, of course, and of many people listening to my podcast, and many people on my Facebook group, and many people in my everyday life that walk past me. If we knew when we were walking past the school mums or dads that we were brushing auras and actually activating each other, and we had chosen to be in each other's lives, even if you don't even speak to those people, what we would, how would we do things differently? Like, what the heck even? Like, there's no coincidence, there's no mistakes in everything and anything that happens in our lives. So this is just a nice quick little potty for you to listen to here. I'd love to know what you feel about this. I'd love to see you in my Facebook groups, or say hi on Instagram. I would love to bring you into one of my containers. I've got Magnificent Mediumship. I've got Money Aligned, which I've just begun, but it's so potent. And money is a beautiful, beautiful resource. We require to acknowledge it before it dissipates, because it's going to be replaced with something else, right? It might be called something else, but it's still going to be the energy of money. It can't disappear. And I've got a mastermind coming up this year, which I would love to have you in. I've also got one-to-one. So I've got pretty much 4 offers going on at this current time. They change all the time, but this is what my splenic authority, my intuition is calling me to do. But I also love to have free content for people to kind of just play with, So if you are listening, make sure you say hello. Let me know what you love about the podcast, right? Message me. The more messages I get, the more awareness or acknowledgement that when I know that people are listening, then the beautiful thing about it is I get to keep creating, right? So I love it. Please feel free to share. Please pop on your Facebook group, tag me so I know that you listened. I know that you're one of those people in my tribe that I'm here to serve. And I'm so, so greatly grateful for you. So just remember, individuality creates unity consciousness to heal the ancestor lines, to heal the wounds from childhood and past lives. It is coming into yourself, into the sense of joy, into alignment, happiness, and of course, wealth and health. Sending you so much love. Check out my socials, and I hope to catch you soon. Listening to today's episode. I trust that you got those golden nuggets that you required to shift your consciousness, to expand your awareness, and to turn up your capacity. I invite you to share this podcast with anyone that you feel would benefit from it. And also share the golden nuggets that you have learned with your friends, family, and of course, clients. You can contact me if there's anything that you want to specifically share with me, or if there's anything you want me to specifically share on the podcast. You can check out the show notes and find me on my socials, and myself or my team will get back to you. My heart to yours. Have a beautiful day, and I'll see you soon.